Hello guys, today I am going to start this tutorial. As a part of this tutorial, I'll be going to cover one of the very interesting and very popular Java framework, that is Spring. Okay, so let's discuss the agenda of this tutorial here guys. So as a part of this tutorial, I'll be going to cover few topics. So let's discuss this topic one by one, what kind of things I'll be going to cover in the further sessions. So as a part of first session, I'll be going to cover what is Spring, okay, or we can say intro of Spring. As a part of this session, I'll be going to discuss some advantages, disadvantages, then some some points, important points about Spring, then who is the developer of Spring, then when it is implemented. Apart from that, I'll be going to cover a few models of a Spring, then what are the uses of those models. So these all things I'll be going to cover as a part of this first session. In a second session onward, I'll be only talking about practical things, like how to create simple Spring app. Then in the third video or third session, I'll be going to cover how to bring MVC app. Okay, in the fourth session, I'll be going to discuss one of the Spring model, that is Spring Boot. Okay. And by using of Spring Boot, so we are going to see how to create the Spring Boot project, okay, or application. By using a Spring Boot, we are going to create the application. Apart from that, so mainly the Spring Boot model is used to create the or develop the REST endpoint. So I'll be going to demo how we can create or develop the REST endpoints by using the Spring Boot. Okay, REST APIs. So these two agenda we can see as a part of this fourth session. Now let's talk about the first point here, like what is Spring and where we use the Spring and what is the main intention behind developing the Spring. Okay, so let's start here. The main goal of Spring framework is to simplify the coding. Okay, then whatever highly dependent model will be there. Okay, highly dependent model will be there in a traditional system. So this will deprecate them and add a new value on it. Okay, so first let's go with the definition of a Spring, and once we understand the definition of a Spring, then you will get to know all kind of things. Okay, so now what is Spring? Spring is a open source. Okay, Spring is a open source. Then Spring is a lightweight. Okay, Spring is a lightweight. Then Spring is a loosely dependent or loosely coupled. Sorry, loosely coupled. See, this each concept having their own meaning. Okay, I'll be going to discuss this concept. Okay, in few minutes. So don't worry about these words. So I'll be going to discuss this thing. Okay. Apart from that, Spring is a dependency injection based. Okay, dependency injection. Then Spring is a complete and modular Java framework. Okay, Spring is a complete and modular Java framework. Who is invented the Spring framework? Which is invented by, okay, invented by ROD Johnson. The developer of Spring framework. ROD Johnson is a developer of a Spring framework. Now let's talk about the year. In which year this is developed? This is developed in 2003. Okay. Then see what we understand from this definition. Spring is open source, lightweight, loosely coupled, dependency injection based, complete and modular Java framework. Okay, so initially we use Java. Okay, we use Java to develop the framework. Okay, mainly Java is a language. Okay, we know that this is a programming language, and we use this programming language as a raw material, and by using this raw material we implement this refined product, that means Spring framework. Then you will, like you got one question like, what is framework? What is framework? So framework is a, okay, what is framework? It is an collection of, it is a collection of classes and interfaces. Okay, classes and interfaces. What is the framework? Framework is a collection of classes and interfaces, nothing but a framework. Then what is libraries? Libraries, what is libraries? We we mainly heard about it, like this library, that library, like we have data and time library will be there. Okay, we have we have another, like SQL related libraries. So these things we have in our Java framework. Okay, but see what is it? Okay, it is a group of classes and interfaces which represent the open functionality, okay, which represent some functionalities. So that is nothing but our libraries. Suppose, or which represent, we can say, specific functionality. Specific functionality. Now, what are those? Suppose we have date and time library. Okay, so this will represent only date and time related things. Okay, whatever classes will be there under this date and time, so which are represent the, like, date related things and time related things. Okay, so that is nothing but our library. Now let's divide this your Spring framework definition and let's understand the meaning of each word. Now let's talk about the first one. What is open source? Here open source meaning, okay, it is available for all without paying any cost. Okay, it is available for all without paying anything, so we can use that concept. That concept is nothing but open source. Okay, so if you go to the Google Chrome and if you search like Spring framework, then you will get the all idea. Like you will get one zip file and then you can download that zip file. So that's why we said, so we no need to we no need to pay to use the Spring framework. So we can easily download it, we can easily use this framework, and we can modify the source code as per our requirement. So these things we can do by using the Spring framework here. But that's why we said Spring is a open source. Okay, no need to pay. need to pay. Okay, no need to pay. Without pay we can use. Then what is mean by lightweight? See, lightweight means, see, Spring Framework came in a jars or GIF file. Okay, it is came in GIF file, and GIF having a in GIF having a size in MBs. Okay, GIF having a size in MBs, so that's why we said, or that definition said, Spring is a lightweight. Again, there is one more point here. Spring having a support of, okay, it is having a support of Pojo and Poji. Okay, so what does mean by the Pojo? Pojo means plain old Java object. And what does mean by the Poji? So Poji means plain old, same meaning, plain old Java interface. So both are having lightweight. So both are, so this Pojo and Poji are lightweight component. Correct. So that's why we said, or the definition said, Spring Framework is a lightweight. So this is having a support of Pojo and Poji. Now let's talk about the loosely coupled. What does mean by the loosely coupled? So it is a degree of dependency between a two component. Degree of dependency between a two component is less than those components are loosely coupled. Suppose, let's take example, I have class A and class B. Now A is class A is completely dependent on B. Okay, class A is completely dependent on B. If class A is not there, then class B is not there. Suppose take an example of a university. Okay, like without having the university, there is no departments. Okay, there is no chance of department. In that case, we can say the departments and university are tightly coupled. Okay, tightly coupled. But if you can say there are some departments, okay, there are some departments having their dependency with their teachers. Okay, if something, if in case, suppose I'm working in a BCA department, okay, as a teacher. Okay, I'm working in a BCA department as a teacher. In some cases, the BCA department is stopped. Okay, that course is deleted from the university side. Then in that case, so I can teach to other department people as well, or to other department student as well. So that's why I said what is the department and teacher. Okay, DPT and teacher are loosely coupled. The what is the dependency between a department and teacher? The department and teacher dependency is loose, like low. So that's why we can say department and teacher, both components are loosely coupled. But university and department, university university and both are tightly coupled, and department and teacher are loosely coupled. Okay, so that is the thing about the loosely coupled. Then what is dependency injection base? See, suppose I have class A. hmm? Okay, suppose I have class A, and that class A having a one variable, that name is sum. Okay, I initialize it, so something. Okay, or I can say, yeah, sum, or I can give the another name, something like an address. Okay, Now, dependency injection based means, so Spring framework internally, okay, Spring framework internally inject this address field, inject this address field from their end, okay, from their end. Suppose we mention this address, okay, we mention this address, so simply we can say setting the, okay, setting the address to a class, like setting the address to a class, like a dot set address, okay, something like this. So we can pass the object. Simply it means like this, okay. So dependency injection means setting the address to a class, okay. What does mean setting the address to a class? So that is called dependency injection. Now let's talk about the another one. What does mean the complete and modular? So complete means, see, complete means if we talk about old frameworks like struct will be there and other hibernate and all these. So those framework only used at particular level of the application. Suppose we have three levels like controller, then service, then repo, or we can say DAO. Then struct always worked at a UI side, like front end. Only it works at a UI side. But Hibernate worked at a repo level. But if you can see, Spring can be used at any layer. Spring we can use at controller level, Spring we can use at a service level, Spring we can use at a repo level. So it's up to you. As per requirement, you can use the Spring here. Okay, so that's why we called Spring is a complete and modular framework, Java framework. Then let's talk about another things. Who is a developer of a Spring framework? The ROD Johnson is a developer of a Spring framework. Let me copy this here as well. Mostly this question will be asked by interviewer who is a developer of a Spring framework. That is like ROD Johnson is a developer of a Spring framework. Okay. Then when it is developed in 2000. Then what is the initial name of a Spring framework? The initially when at first time when that Spring framework is developed, at that time they called they used to call the like interface 21. Okay, they used to call interface 21 to initial name of Spring framework. Okay, so if you can say here, ROD Johnson is a developer, 2003 is a year, and initial name of the Spring framework is 21, interface 21. So there is one history behind the 21. So I'll be going to cover this in further section. Okay, now we discuss about this point. So first we discuss the definition and we split it into the further part like what is open source, what is lightweight, what is loosely coupled, what is dependency injection based, complete and modular Java framework invented by ROD Johnson in 2003. Then what is framework, what is the lib, and what is the, so these three questions mainly asked by the interviewers. Now let's talk about the what are the models Spring having. Okay, what are the models Spring having? Spring having a five models. Okay, Spring having the five models. Okay, five models. What are those? First, Spring IOC. What is long form of IOC? IOC is the inversion out. inversion of control. So inversion of control. Okay. So I'll be going to discuss this inversion of control. What is inversion of control and what is the meaning of this? So basically, this is a factory of object. Okay. So this is a factory of objects. So it contains the all object which is created by Spring framework. Okay, so that's why it is an inversion of control. Basically, we can say this is the design principle. Okay, it is a design principle, or okay, which is used to contain the list of object or maintain the list of objects. Okay, apart from that, Spring DAO, or we can say Spring JDBC. JDBC. Okay, it mainly works at the backend. So to it established the connection between a Java program and our database. Established the connection between Java and DB. Okay. Now there is another model, that is Spring ORM. Spring ORM. So this is related to the database, like object relation mapping. So we can map our object to our database table directly. So for that, this ORM mainly used. So there are sub tool of this ORM that is JPA will be there, and another one is like Hibernate will be there. Okay, then again this is used to mapping the Java, like Java, we can say Java 202 table. Okay, again we can say Spring AOP will be there. AOP. So this is the aspect oriented programming language. So stand for aspect oriented programming, which is used mainly to mapping or calculating some time. Then if you want to perform some activity meanwhile the execution, then you can do by using the Spring AOP, by using the point cuts and all things. So that is the main funda of AOP. Apart from that, Spring MVC will be there. Spring MVC. So this is called model view controller will be there. So this is the one of the model which is used to develop the Spring MVC related project. So we can embed the view with our Spring project. Okay, and there is a Spring context model will be there. Text model. Okay, so these are the 6 model we have in a Spring. Okay, that means our Spring framework is divided into the 6 model. First model is used to store the object which is created by the Spring framework. Second model is used to connectivity, establish the connectivity between a database. The third model is used to map our Java program with our with directly tables. Then EOP is used to perform some meanwhile activity like aspect oriented programming. Then MVC is used to create some model view of project. Then this is the Spring context model. Okay, so these are the 6 model Spring having. That means Spring is divided into these models. Okay, so these are the basics of the Spring framework. So let's revise. So what we discussed the definition of the Spring. So we covered this point, like what is open source, lightweight, loosely coupled, dependency injection, complete and modular. Then we discussed about the framework and library. who is a developer of the Spring framework, in which year it is developed, what is the initial name of the Spring framework. So these all things we covered. Then there are six models of a Spring. That means Spring is divided into the six model. One is Spring IOC, Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring AOP, Spring MSC, Spring Context. So these are the six model. Okay. So yeah, that's all about the basic things of a Spring framework, guys. So now from tomorrow onward, so we will be going to talk about more and more practical. I don't want to go any theoretical things. So I just wanted to understand you, like I just wanted to explain you the practical things, how Spring work and what are the main things we have to consider here. Okay. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for watching this session.